I found it!
A job?
Your optimism is concerning.
Nah, I was just toying with you.
Exactly. See, we've been looking in all the wrong places this whole time, these Toy Story 3s and Toy Story 2s, that we never thought about the source.
And you know where to find this source.
Hey.
So this is what pain feels like. Say, do you like stories with toys in them?
This is perfection.
Yes,
No, it's
it
not.
is. Toy Story is one of the most beloved movies in all of cinema. With the groundbreaking success, it's no surprise that multiple game adaptations followed suit. Every version features different elements, and became notorious for its difficulty. The SNES port became one of the most popular versions, and eventually, speedrunners discovered how broken it truly is. This title has undergone a niche history long overlooked, and the strategies discovered throughout their journey is an incredible tale of passion and resilience. Unlike many 90s games, Toy Story wasn't a big hit for speedrunners. Mainline franchises like Mario, Sonic, and others gained larger followings throughout the years. One of those big titles was Super Metroid on the SNES, which captivated thousands of players. Around 2015, a newcomer became intrigued with the game. Having only just discovered the speedrun community, his curiosity was at an all-time high. This is Enmet. Enmet loves finding new glitches, especially if they help beat the game faster. However, for Super Metroid, almost all the big discoveries ran dry. When he failed to get results, he decided to set his sights on a new game, one that hasn't explored its full potential. That's when he found Toy Story. Despite being on multiple platforms, Toy Story was rarely brought up in any discussion. The only submitted times were on the Sega Genesis, which differs in controls and gameplay. A player named Mookie did a tool-assisted speedrun of the Genesis version, using external tools to create a theoretical perfect run. Enmet took note of the strategies, and in December 2015, he did the first ever SNES speedrun of Toy Story. His general movement is very straightforward, running while avoiding as many enemies as possible. In the third level, named Ego Check, he takes advantage of a damage boost technique. Hitting the bottom of the level takes away 1 health, while simultaneously bouncing Woody in the air. Using this find, he bounces underneath the slow rope section, saving 5 seconds. Speaking of damage, it's critical to keep track of your health, because it doesn't refill from level to level. To play it safe, Enmet takes a few intentional deaths to reset his health for difficult sections. By the time he enters Andy's car, he finishes the first run in 26 minutes and 27 seconds. A lot has yet to be done, but no one else was there to help bring down the record. Enmet was the only player dedicated enough to prove the run's potential. The game's history is in his hands. On February 1st, 2016, Enmet completed a new record that blew his last one away. Whereas his first run was on an emulator, he switched to the Japanese version on the Super Famicom. This version allows you to hit Buzz 1 phase early during the Nightmare boss fight, saving another 5 seconds. In a Buzz clip, he takes sharper turns and skips collecting a few batteries. Since the batteries power the car, he has to rush toward the next one before its juice runs out, all to save fractions of a second. He avoided most of his previous mistakes, granting him time save of over 2 minutes. This was a huge accomplishment, but he knows he can go further. At the end of 2016, Enmet did something crazy. Typically, time jumps like this happen because of new strategies, but that simply isn't the case here. Tiny optimizations added up, leading to huge overall improvement. He used to hesitate in the level inside the claw machine to avoid taking damage. Now, Enmet runs through the fans without stopping. This improvement didn't come completely out of nowhere though. Enmet has completed many records, but he only saves the ones he feels satisfied with. This further motivates him because he knows he's capable of more. His 23:15 stood as the last record of 2016. Little did he know that early next year, he'd be going against a speedrunning legend. I Love Mario is a talented speedrunner who previously held records in Mario Bros. 2 and 3. After just a bit of practice, he made an interesting discovery. During Buzz Battle, you're supposed to capture him with a tire and let him spin for about 10 seconds. Repeat this 3 more times until he's defeated. That's how it normally went, until Mario found a way to skip half of the fight. When Buzz goes free, there's a 3 to 5 frame window where you can hit the tire immediately before it flies away. Whipping at just the right time rebounds the tire toward him, which counts as an extra hit. It's possible to do this twice, saving up to 20 seconds. Equipped with a new time save, Mario implemented this trick into his run. He accomplished the game's first 22-minute time. The Buzz battle strategy was extremely beneficial, which was complemented by his great movement. He wasn't afraid to damage boost more frequently, allowing him to speed past many obstacles. Mario opened the door for new tricks to be discovered. Enmet took notice and was blown away by the new strategy. But upon learning its technicalities, he realized he couldn't beat him as is. Mario played on the US version of Toy Story, which released 4 months before the Japanese version. In that time, the fast hit on the Nightmare fight was added, but the early hit on Buzz Battle got removed. Because this time save outweighed the other, the US copy was declared the fastest version. So, after some searching, Enmet finally got his hands on the US Super Nintendo. Then, as he was practicing, another player was also learning the Toy Story speedrun, and this runner rediscovered a long-forgotten skip. Back in 2010, a casual player named William Mann was playing Toy Story when he reached the level called the Claw. You're supposed to use the aliens to free Buzz from the Claw 5 times, which takes about 75 seconds. If he's captured, you lose a life and the level resets. The aliens are quite hard to control, making this level very upsetting. In the middle of William's understandable rage, something unexpected occurs.
I don't get it! I refuse to die on this stage again. I refuse. Oh. What happened?
The level ends prematurely. This is completely abnormal. How did it end so early? Without realizing it, Will had discovered Claw Skip. When whipping out your pull string, Woody can toss a maximum of 3 aliens at once and can only launch 2 at a time. But Will accidentally found a way to bypass this. If you hit 2 aliens toward the claw, they bounce off and briefly remain airborne. If you mash your whip while they're in the air, the game spawns 2 additional aliens, ending the level on the spot. The reason why this works still puzzles the community. Some speculate it's sprite overload, but that would normally end in a crash. Whatever the case, this trick saves massive time. This strategy was uncovered by Kipples, an upcoming runner aiming for the top. When Enmet witnessed Claw Skip, he utilized it in his next world record. Even though he missed Claw Skip initially, his improvised backup still shaved off over a minute. He kept it together and got a time of 21:44. Because of how much time this saves, it covered up some mistakes. There were segments when he lost time on Mario, making his record feel cheap in comparison. Determined to do better, he continued doing attempts. Up to this point, every record has lost at least 1 life. Even after years, not a single run is free of a death. Toy Story's difficulty deters many players from learning the speedrun. In the back of Enmet's mind, he wondered if he could achieve a record with 0 deaths. It was a hopeful thought, but first and foremost, he needs to improve his movement before jumping the gun. Enmet got on another run less than a week later. To manage his health, he gets as many stars as possible in each level. Depending on how many stars you collect, you will regain a certain amount of health. For example, if you collect every star except for one, your health will fully replenish in the next level. This makes the run easier and leaves room for extra damage boosting. Despite his efforts, he only has 1 health entering Roller Bob. Even though it's an auto-scroller, this is one of the hardest parts of the game. It's the ultimate test of reaction time and movement with little to no room for error. There's a checkpoint midway through, which means Enmet can activate it, then die immediately to respawn quickly. This reduces the risk of dying later, but it also means it won't be a deathless run and he'll lose 4 seconds. It's one or the other. Ultimately, he takes the death and accepts the time loss. This was the safest option, even if it's not what he wanted. Luckily, hitting claw skip first try and playing better overall granted him a 23-second improvement. Still not satisfied, Enmet continued the grind, hoping that soon he'd finally catch a break. The run started like any other, with solid movement throughout the first levels. Things became serious after an extremely clean level 6. Then, he achieved the fastest hits on Buzz ever, and claw skip went off without a hitch. This was an insane run. He approached Roller Bob with 2 health points instead of 1. This gave him a sliver of hope that he might survive. History is about to be made, as long as Enmet gets through the level in 1 hit or less. There weren't any major mistakes, and everything was performed better than anyone had ever seen. Best of all, 0 deaths had finally been achieved. This would mark the end of many journeys, but Enmet is just getting started. Soon, the growing community will witness more incredible runs in this game's progression.
I really thought I had seen the worst with the other games, but this just hurts.
Do you know this game came out a full month after the release of the movie?
You're telling me they didn't know Toy Story would be an overnight success?
Oh no, they did. They just prioritized the wrong console. Well, go on. Throughout Toy Story's history, one thing has remained consistent. The Genesis version has always been faster than the SNES. To put in perspective, Yami Amarillo lowered the Genesis record to a 2059 back in 2015. This is partially because certain levels function differently. For example, there's no wait at the beginning of Red Alert, and Woody's speed in food and drink is significantly increased. But there has to be something bigger at play, right? Well, both consoles have a different number of levels, which makes a huge difference. SNES has a total of 17 levels. The Genesis version, the faster of the 2 variants, has 18 levels. That's right, Genesis has an extra car level that's over a minute long. If there's more gameplay, how is it faster? The answer is the loading screens. Almost every screen between levels takes 8 seconds longer on SNES, adding up to 2 minutes of time lost throughout the run. Even so, Enmet has been slowly turning the tables. The Buzz Battle Manip and Claw Skip are exclusive to the SNES, giving it a huge edge. In 2015, the gap between the 2 versions were minutes apart. This is what it looks like now. For the first time, SNES is on the brink of becoming the fastest platform. Saving these last 8 seconds will be Enmet's hardest challenge yet, but he's determined to push through. On May 5th, he started another attempt that was tied with his 2107. This is what happens after a while. You get on a pace just like your personal best, only to lose it to a single mistake. He prepared for that scenario to play out once again. Only this time, things took a different turn. Enmet is on pace to get a sub 21. He needs to focus now if he wants to stay ahead. Is he going to beat the Genesis time, or is he going to miss it? The most anticipated accomplishment was finally completed. This was a long time coming, and he certainly earned a celebration. A run like this must be nearly perfect now, right? Actually, according to Enmet, there's still quite a bit to be done. He had moments of hesitation and took unnecessary damage in a few areas. But Enmet also found a very precise trick called the 10-frame jump. When pressing the jump button, Woody's height is dependent on how long you hold the button. If you hold jump for exactly 10 frames, he gains more air than normal. It's not a big increase, but this extra height is enough to shave off a couple seconds here and there. Despite only having a few uses, Enmet is going to use every ace he has to get the best run possible. It didn't take him long to improve his record by a few seconds. Though, Enmet chose not to save the video this time. If this didn't satisfy him, when was he gonna save another run? Well, before he got that far, someone else made a move first. Kipples worked his way up to world record level. He tied Enmet's 2107 in early May, getting closer to the sub 21. He also created tutorials for the speedrun in hopes of inspiring other runners. If anyone else can take the record, it's him. Interestingly, he never submitted any runs to the leaderboards. While his times can be viewed, they only exist on his channel. Kipples began his quest to take down the record and continued attempts into the end of the month. Enmet's 2059 was very well executed, but he made one crucial mistake. During Buzz's battle, he mistimed the whip and failed the first early hit. If Kipples can avoid this mistake, he will save massive time.
Watch out! Oh! To infinity and beyond! Oh! To infinity and beyond! Oh! To infinity and beyond! Oh!
He missed the second hit, but his quick recovery saved the run. While he was ahead of the 2059, it wasn't clear if he was ahead of Enmet's 2056. Regardless, he stayed focused and approached the claw. First try. Next was the 2 platforming levels, which went really well. Now, he just needs to close out the run. Once again, a new person claimed the record after a month of dedication. Sometimes, it takes just one optimization to transform a good run into a world record. There's still quite a way to go before the time becomes truly unbeatable. But that's far in the future, and it's going to take a lot of practice before a better time is completed. Enmet got a new record after 24 hours. This is crazy. How did he improve so quickly? Turns out, the run isn't as optimized as he thought. His new record had a death in level 14 that lost him not 3, not 5, but 12 seconds. Clearly, the limits haven't been pushed enough. Though, Enmet didn't have the drive to continue like before. Aside from a couple others, Enmet has been single-handedly pushing the record, which became exhausting. When he achieved a 2048 in September, he once again never saved the footage. Perhaps the time has come to set the game aside and move on to other endeavors. Later that year, he decided to do some races on Speedruns Live. This is how Enmet was introduced to speedrunning, and he participated almost exclusively in Super Metroid events. These were fun, but he wished he could do the same for Toy Story. There just wasn't enough interest to generate competition. That was until new players found the game and decided to learn the speedrun. Germro and Delka have been in the community for months and chose to participate in the races. Alongside them, another Toy Story legend had returned. On New Year's Day 2018, Jimmy achieved the record on Genesis, becoming the first to dethrone Amarillo after 3 years. These two champions were doing multiple races, motivating each other to get better and better. Then, January 7th came along. Typically, speedrun races are never going to match up to a personal best. Whereas you can restart as much as you want offline, you only have one shot at a live event. During a race with Jimmy and Germro, Enmet was over 5 seconds behind his 2050 midway through. He strolled through the claw machine, conquered the platform levels, and finished off the race. Everyone set down their controllers and looked at their times. Two runners witnessed a new record. By dying at the start of level 14, Enmet replenishes his health and avoids the same time loss he faced before. This helped him edge out a new record. However, the time displayed on the website wasn't fully accurate. After some analysis, it was retimed to a 2045. His spark was rekindled, and Enmet dedicated himself to truly optimizing Toy Story. Then, a few days later, Toy Story was featured at the Games Done Quick speedrun event, with Germro as the runner for the show. This was the first time they featured their hard work to an audience, and let's just say, they didn't waste the opportunity.
Yeah, and normally you want to...
Every notable trick was shown, and thousands of people saw the intricacies the run has to offer. This newfound attention further motivated Enmet. He did races with Jimmy consistently while practicing on his own. For the next several months, he reached closer to the human limit. Finally, on May 5th, 2018, Enmet got on to the run of his life. The first trick he goes for is the 10-frame jump. This already put him ahead of an average run. He passes through the next few levels and arrives at the second opportunity for a 10-frame jump. Both of these tricks saved 2 seconds total. He has to capitalize on this. In level 10, Enmet makes it through with 3 health points remaining. This allows him to run through the fans without hesitating, saving more time. In level 11, he shaves off an additional 8 seconds by reaching an earlier door cycle. And of course, a perfect claw skip. Then, at the end of level 14, this happened.
Watch out! Watch out! Ow!
On his best attempt in years, Enmet now has to get through Roller Bob without taking any damage. For almost anyone, this would kill the run. Even if you made it halfway through, it'd be miles safer to take an intentional fast death. But Enmet isn't aiming for good. He's aiming for perfection. In 2015, Enmet's time was over 26 minutes long. Throughout the last few years, he's pushed the run faster than the Genesis version, introduced new strategies, and performed insane records. And after all of that, this run was so good that he never came back to the speedrun. This was his final time. The community was in awe as the speedrun was shattered before their eyes. Enmet completed his goal of showing how special the game truly is. He achieved what he set out to do, and it's time to move on to other adventures. After this accomplishment, he put down his controller and walked into the sunset. This was the end of an era for Toy Story speedrunning. Oh hey, I can hear the souls of the damned through the screen.
I don't know who this Bob character is, but I'd love to roll with him.
I wish I could eat again.
Okay guys, this is the last big level. If we get past this, we'll beat the game for sure. Besides, I wouldn't want to have anyone else awkwardly staring at me while playing an obscure 90s game.
We partially believe in you.
Let's do this.
Well, now we just gotta beat the last level, and we'll be in the clear! So, you guys wanna try?
No, Rye. I've had enough.
The following years of Toy Story speedrunning saw many new faces. Upcoming players took a jab at the run, and competition became more fruitful. Amidst the wave of activity, one thing remained the same. Enmet was far and away in first place, and it wasn't even close. He's been the undisputed champion for years, and it didn't seem like that was going to change. But then, one of the new runners began climbing up the leaderboard. Over 2021 to 2022, Keg in the Closet rose all the way to third place behind Enmet and Kipples. Keg is an interesting runner because this is the only game he ever submitted times for on speedrun.com. This makes him unique, as most runners delve into multiple games across their journey. Subsequently, this allows him to focus all of his energy into Toy Story. Keg was good, but could he actually stand a chance against this monstrous time? Well, he wasn't actually concerned about that. Keg wasn't trying to get the record, preferring to just have fun playing the game. This ultimately brought him the most joy, and players like these are what make up the majority of the speedrun community. He wanted to improve at his own pace, without the stress of being the best. During an attempt on June 16th, he fell far enough behind that he couldn't recover. He was in level 11 when he missed a door cycle and couldn't progress. In a moment of defeat, he plopped his controller down on the table.
Hello?
Whoa.
Keg was kicked into the claw, seemingly at random. The level is only supposed to finish after all 4 aliens are collected and placed outside the machine. For some bizarre reason, it ended early, even though he never finished the task. How is this possible? As it turns out, the moment Keg set down his controller, he happened to press 2 specific buttons. Back when the game was being developed, the theory is that the developers temporarily added a way to skip levels. They coded start and select to skip a level if both buttons are held at the same time. This was for testing purposes and wasn't meant to stay in the game. When Toy Story was released, they remembered to remove this feature for every level, except for one. 28 years later, Keg instinctively held down start and select, and just like that, the level was skipped. Keg immediately shared this with the community, and it was officially declared a new strategy. This means there are now only 16 levels in the run. After a couple days of practice, Keg put together the first full speedrun with the new skip, fittingly named Keg Skip.
have to skip the level.
You should
Skip
just
level.
try this one just for old time's sake.
Nope. $1942! Let's go! Holy
This was a mind-boggling event for the entire community. Now that the mold has been broken, the time can go down much further, but Keg isn't planning to take it there. He attained a time he never thought he would achieve, and he's ready to let someone else take the mantle. Luckily, his discovery inspired somebody new to take on the record. This is Gargon. Gargon has been speedrunning for years, claiming records in multiple SNES games. He'd only been in the Toy Story community for a few months before Keg Skip was revealed. His personal best looked ancient in comparison, and he got to work lowering his time. 5 days after Keg's record, he was on a run that fell 6 seconds behind going into level 9. He remained behind as a result, but that was okay since he wasn't hard pressed on getting the record. Then in level 13, he started gaining the lead. He stuck with his pace and blazed through the endgame.
Woo! Is that a record?
Keg witnessed his run live and was incredibly happy for him. Losing the record shortly after obtaining it can hurt, but Keg displays great sportsmanship. He deserved this achievement, and he's excited to see Gargon's journey continue. Besides, he's far from running out of time save.
1930, baby. Woo-wee.
Just like that, another 10 seconds have been shaved off. Gargon realized that he spent a lot of time hesitating and cut down on these moments to breeze through obstacles. This means taking more damage, but it's worth the cost. Just like Enmet, he's dedicated to push the limits. But despite his progress, there is one spot where he always loses time. Buzz Battle is deceptively simple, especially with the manipulation. It's impossible to get the early hit more than twice, meaning you still have to wait out one spin cycle. Though, there is a way to manipulate the fight even more. If you position yourself correctly after the early hit, you can whip the tire just as it flies. Then, you duck under him as the tire descends, recapturing him before he continues the cycle. This is extremely precise, and you need to perform it twice to save the most time. The timing is tight, and this has killed many of Gargon's runs. To ensure he never faces this hurdle again, he spent hours practicing this battle. Then, on July 5th, 2023, this is what he learned.
Watch out! Oh! To infinity and beyond! To infinity and beyond! Oh! To infinity and beyond!
Oh, we got the skip. Let's go. Oh, that's a 925. I mean, 1925. I can't believe we got the skip.
He shattered his mental block, keeping his nerves cool throughout the run. He even completed Roller Bob on 1 health despite the pressure. This was an incredible display of growth, and it shows that with enough practice, anyone can conquer their weaknesses. Unwilling to quit now, he began working toward a sub 1920. After a few days, he almost got there. Gargon claims that he nearly broke the milestone, but he wasn't recording. Unfortunately, it can't be verified as there's no video or witnesses. Gargon is a trustworthy runner, but it's important to maintain consistent rule sets within the community. Besides, in order for it to be legit, we need to see proof of a new record.
Yeah, I'll try one more. If this dies anywhere, then I definitely had to end it. Alright, here we go. One more. That's it. Oh, we gotta run. My god. We did save time. Okay, let's do this, baby. This is pace. Yes, baby, yes. 19-1x. Wow, that's all I wanted. Okay, I'm glad, man. You're here. That's so cool.
In less than a month, 2 runners collectively saved over a minute off a 5-year record. Never before has the run been this broken, and all it took was an accidental push of a button. Keg and Gargon have both changed the game forever. That's where the progression ends. Until a new runner discovered the game.
Most of the time when I get into learning a speedrun, it's a game that I have childhood memories of. And yeah, Toy Story was one of them. I played it quite a bit as a kid. I started learning it around 2022. I kind of just stopped. I think I had like exams, then I moved to Germany. When I came back to it, I had basically forgotten like anything. I probably put like 70% of my time into just like relearning and practicing, and like 30% actually went in runs.
After some practice, Flo was just 2 seconds away from sub 20. Many work up to this milestone over time, but he did it as if it was nothing. Of course, there are mistakes he needs to avoid if he wants a better time. Then, in one single run, he cleaned up everything. Flo smashed the record to pieces. He had a fast buzz battle, near perfect damage boosting, even small details like the swings were more optimized. Needless to say, a new Toy Story champion has risen. But he's not finished yet. Even this run has a few mistakes he needs to rectify. Not to mention, he's 9 seconds away from 18-minute territory. For most runners in this position, their goal would simply be to break the barrier. But Flo's goal was actually different.
When I started learning it in 2022, my initial goal was actually just trying to match Enmet's time, who was the record holder, because it was before the big skip got found. When I came back to it, I essentially did the same thing because obviously the record got beaten, but if you would add the time save that Enmet essentially would get from the new skip, it would be like a 1902. So I essentially kept comparing against Enmet because I really wanted to beat his time, taking into account that new skip.
This is Flo's objective. With a goal and a vision, he held his head high. This game is hard, unforgiving, and sometimes random, but that's not going to stop him. He's on a mission to prove that any community, big or small, can make history.
And eventually I got that run, which does beat his PB and also gets the sub 19. So yeah.
Flo's record is the only sub 19 time. Many have tried to get into the speedrun, but its difficulty curve makes it hard to learn. When you get a handle on it though, Toy Story is a really fun speed game. There's quite a lot this run has to offer, and there's always opportunity for growth. Perhaps Flo will return one day, or someone new will take the throne. No matter what happens, the community will always take the speedrun to infinity and beyond.